Let's get started. So today, February 11th, weekly town hall meeting. Today's agenda is projects and development updates, marketing updates, collaborations updates, and Q&A. Robinson, if you want to start us off with projects and development updates, please.
Thank you. So our updates are one is as usual we have updates from the blockchain team, the text development, next, and the Dexboard. So these are the projects that we are actively working on now. And the following screens will have details on each. But first, some of the other activities. So we are working on creating a demo deposit operation on the mainnet, but we've faced with some blocker UI bugs, which is preventing us from performing this. So we were unable to test this on the market.peerplays.com Dex deployment. So we'll attempt this next week. So this remains a major action item, and the Dex blockers are it was primarily because of other changes, not exactly connected with uh, Bitcoin functionality. So we're expecting to uh, test this early next week and attempt the demo again on next Friday. So let's go to the next slide, please. So this is again a continuation of the process improvement, the overall process improvement discussion that we had last week. Unfortunately, I don't think we have made any progress apart from discussing about the UX related aspects. So I've decided to keep this slide as part of our town hall meeting as long as we have at least the major issues being sorted out. So I've also given an example of one of the tickets without any tracking information. So essentially, we are still creating and creating bugs, tickets, and closing them with absolutely no tracking information. Even basic information like which testnet we're connecting to and which version of the software is being tested, it's missing. So it's a for lack of better words, it's a very terrible situation because we have absolutely zero tracking available from these tickets, and we have to take this with extreme uh, priority and get this addressed. So that's this important process improvement slide. So let's go on to the updates. So the Dex preview release and its updates. So we're currently QAing a version point 071. Sorry, is 0.71, and we were supposed to have the release 72.72, but that's been delayed primarily due to one blocker issue, couple of blocker issues, UI blocker issues, minor issues, but blocking our progress in the market and various other important screens. And we've been also working on the Hive and SPD related screens, withdrawal related screens. So this has essentially delayed our release. But even though we're making other bug fixes and progresses, and next week it looks like we are close to complete the blocker issues, and we will do a release uh, 0.72 by next week. So let's go to the next slide. So these slides gives us the regular uh, updates on burn up chart and burn down chart. So let's skip to the next one. Uh, These are the details of current active bug fixes and other items. So we have been working on various bugs on Exchange screens, Depot listing, and there are recently numerous items. bugs as well as features being worked on. So the progress here would be pretty small because we only have a handful of people working on this. And for the time being, Ali is looking into some of the blocker issues. He was primarily working on the next, but for this, for these blocker issues, he is involved right now. Let's go to the next slide. This is our uh, progress report using the Gantt software. I think it's self-explanatory. So let's skip to the next slide. This is our ongoing progress. Essentially, we can see that uh, there are two, sorry, five bugs which is addressed, and there are also new bugs which is getting raised, and historical information is also available. Let's go to the next slide, Kelly. The next UI. So this is our upcoming the improved Dex UI, and we're working on the initial screens. So we've been making some progress. We are not yet ready to have a demo or screenshots, etc. at this point, but we're pretty much on track here. So Henry, do you want to share any inputs here?
Okay, all right. So, yes, guys are currently working on the screens for Market tab and for Deposit tab dashboard, but those tickets are currently in the review state, and that's why this diagram doesn't display the progress. But well, this is a pretty large piece of functionality, and it's almost complete, and it's under review right now. So it will soon be finished, and they will be able to see that.
Okay, thank you. So Kelly, let's go to the next slide. So again, our self-explanatory Gantt can chart information. So let's go to the next slide. Dexboard. So we've got the Dexboard working on Peerplays. So we have, by default, Dexboard comes with three strategies. So I've also provided some screenshots. So in the screenshot, we can see that so this is on the testnet. So I think two strategies are being initiated here. One strategy is called King of the Hill, and there is another one, relative orders. So there's text mode. So and there the text mode can be operated in two modes. One is UI, which supports Windows, Mac, and Linux, and there is also a CLI. So this I've shown screenshots of both, and in the CLI one, we can see two of the strategies uh, being executed and in progress. So essentially, these three strategies are working, and our initial release. So we have an alpha release which is working fine, but it looks like we have small UI alignment issues and similar things all over the place. So the plan with the Dexboard is that we will be releasing, we'll provide a beta release next week with these three strategies, and then we will work towards creating additional easy to understand documentation explaining these strategies. And with that, for the time being, we'll try to wind up this project. And when there is more demand to add additional strategies, then that is when we'll look into it. But at this point, it looks like the application is working fine. And one thing that is missing is the documentation and explanation for the existing strategies. Uh, and people, so how this is expected to work is anybody who wants to create markets on the Peerplays decks. They can operate it on their computers, or uh, the client, the CLI version can work even on Raspberry Pi or smaller devices. Even though I don't expect it to work on Raspberry Pi because it looks to be little resource intensive at this point. Uh, but at least on servers or small computers with full-time connectivity, it should work just fine. And we'll be at this point we'll be providing only these three default strategies, which is available with Dexboard. It came bundled with the Dexboard, and there's no guarantee of making profit or anything like that. We won't be essentially supporting such active, any. We won't be actually promising that this will create profits or anything like that. Whomsoever is operating it, they'll have to do their due diligence and keep monitoring to make sure that they're not running into losses. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So yeah, we have the uh, tracking information, which is self-explanatory. So let's go to the next slide. Blockchain updates. So on the blockchain side, we are still working on some of the uh, critical bugs like blockchain corruption, and there are quite a few enhancements all over the place. And we are also looking into upgrading we have also another major upgrade is that we have been slowly working towards upgrading our environment OS support from Ubuntu 18.04 to Ubuntu 20.04. It's it's kind of ready. Even though we are not yet officially announcing that, we are quite ready to support Ubuntu 20.04. Now, the next item in the pipeline is we are currently using majorly dependent on one of our major dependencies is the Boost library, which is 1.67. So we are attempting to upgrade this into 1.70. So we have some code already under review for this, apart from various other smaller fixes. So uh, so we are evaluating this, even though these code changes are pretty massive, which creates a dilemma of QA because such a large amount of code changes will require detailed QA. So we are trying to work out the details on how to prioritize between the existing bugs and these upgrades that we're working on. So that's a general update on the blockchain. And in addition to this, it looks like we are seeing stability issues on the Bitcoin SetMQ connectivity, which is essential for the Sun operations. So that's another important aspect which we are investigating at this point. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. So these slides are providing the usual burn up chart and other details. That's again self-explanatory. So let's move to the next slide. Kelly, let's go to the next slide. Thank you. So this information is again pretty minimal because we only have a handful of issues, and the progress may not be uh, too huge because each individual item takes a lot of time to address. Anyway, we have these information available. Let's go to the next slide. This is our historical progress. So this shows that we have been consistently working on various items, and there are bugs and all these items being either created and addressed. So this shows our ongoing progress, and it looks pretty stable at this point because there are no major features being developed except for various stability fixes. Okay, let's go to the next slide. the Peerplays JS library. So we have pretty much put this on hold at this point. So the current status is that we have addressed most of the important vulnerabilities, and we have around 5 or 6 low-hanging fruits, which we will address once we have a. So the only product that is currently using the Peerplays JS library is the only product in active development which is using this library is the Dex UI. So once we have a release, we will come back and work on this. So for the time being, this is on hold. And in addition to this, we are also in the initial stages of the NFT store. So we were not having too much of updates because of the developers being away due to personal reasons, etc. So we have not added the slides, but we're making some good progress there as well. So that's all from the development team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robinson. Michael, do you want to start us off with marketing updates, please?
Hello, everybody. The marketing updates for this week. We've been organizing and beginning to post content on the news and article section for peerplays.com so that we can have the repository of information within our own house, and hoping for Google to index everything so that when people are searching for information on DeFi and decentralized systems and blockchain and stuff like that, that we will show up in the results and become one of the educators in the space. So we're starting to do that, and we'll slowly be adding the posts to that. And with that, we'll start a Twitter campaign. Mo has been working on threads based on the articles, which will lead people back to the full article for more information. So I'm pretty excited that we've started that process. There's a couple up there now. Sala will be optimizing them for the SEO as well, and we'll be able to go forward for that. Another thing, we put the final touches on the community outreach survey, and I've got some imagery to accompany it. It had gone through its final internal review as of yesterday, and I will have it either released later on this afternoon or over the weekend or Monday at the latest, to start soliciting the feedback that we want to get from the community on what we can do going forward, what they want to see more of, and that sort of thing. And in a couple weeks at the town hall, I will be able to tabulate the information and make a little bit of a presentation on what that feedback was. We've continued our work on the content strategy and goals, and made some good progress this week on discussions on things that we're going to do going forward and how we're going to accomplish the goals. And we will start to be able to do some of the stuff that we are talking about and put it into practice, which is good. We've also been able to overcome a technical problem with having guests for podcasts that we're going to do with Peerplays, and have other thought leaders in the space in to discuss ideas and everything. We now have that technical hurdle jumped, and we'll be able to have guests in place. So as we start to do these sorts of things, all of that's coming into play, and we'll be in a good shape to be able to do it. And I've continued some evaluations of the tools and resources for better workflow for the marketing team, so that we can put out the best content that we possibly can. That's my updates. I'm going to turn it over to Sala now for the performance side.
Thank you, Michael. So in terms of performance for this week, we keep in seeing a growth in terms of LinkedIn and Instagram as well. As Michael stated, so we'll be starting a campaign on Twitter. So we'll be having more positive growth on Twitter, as well as later on we'll be focusing as well on Facebook. The next slide, please. And as we started putting Peerplays website content, articles, news, and other pages related to the new peerplays.com. So the SEO already started last week, and we are seeing a lot of attraction in terms of the main keywords related to Peerplays, like Peerplays, PPY, Peerplays coin, etc. And then we'll keep posting articles, indexing them, and getting the best in terms of keywords, Peerplays related keywords, and also other keywords related to blockchain, NFT, DeFi, and other, in order to have like organic traffic and get community, and also grow the attraction to Peerplays as an educator in the space. So that's for the performance for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Sala and Michael. Okay, Jonathan, collaborations update, please.
Thank you very much. So this past week, had an extensive planning call with Parlay regarding the Casino 3.0 platform. Went over the processes. It was a planning call, so it basically just went into details about how things would work with their platform. Still being worked on, but it's going well. GBC, Gaming Benefits Corporation, had a call reviewing how Peerplays would be utilized in their applications. It was an introduction actually to their CTO for the call, where we did talk about Sun's Bitcoin and Hive extensively. He actually has been involved in Hive in the past, so he was quite familiar with everything we were doing. And there's great interest. They also expressed great interest in looking at utilizing some of our other applications like Bookie and Easy 50/50 once they get their regulatory audit application for charitable lottos completed. In this kind of scenario where they're using those applications, you'd be looking at Bookie being implemented state to state across the US, using mostly charitable organizations, with the largest being the veterans service organizations. So that's some exciting news, still in the works. And another collaboration we had this past week was with Follow My Vote. This is something we've had ongoing for quite some time, about a year now. We had a call with Nathan from Follow My Vote, where we discussed the future of Peerplays and the code base extensively, with the blockchain abstraction layer, which I talked about last week, being introduced to Peerplays. It also incorporated a massive update of various other elements, which improves Peerplays core significantly, while there were also some minor improvements in regards to cosmetic changes that make management easier. So this update is in review. It has been reviewed and is going to be in testing now, and can be expected to be reaching mainnet in the near future. So those are the three collaborations that we have an update on for this past week.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions, comments, or thoughts? Q&A time. Okay, and I had no questions turned into me, so that ends today's meeting. Thank you all very much for your time, and we will see you next week.